Good morning, everybody. Yeah. So yesterday, today brought new surprises. Some were good, some were bad, some were I don't know. First of all, the other thing sort of escalated. This is where I put the plug because it brings a little bit too much at once. Then the other thing is I now am able to return my device. Funny thing is that I sort of wanted it. Let's see how the IT will react to my changes. If they want me to pay up or if they fuck off guys, fuck off, you know. And next thing is learning a little bit in class. We did everything, you know. We were learning on a somewhat constant tempo speed or somewhat, which was very slow because everyone digressed like constantly, you know. We were talking God, we were talking about the world, we were talking politics, we were talking, I don't know, religion. We were talking about everything except the issue at hand, which was quite nice because that is what you learn for. My intestines went. This is where you practice tests, you know, so you can think about geopolitical conflicts and issues that happened or will happen millions of miles away, that are in no way whatsoever related to you. This is very important. Think about, you know, in China, a sack of rice falls over, you know. This is the most important thing in the world. And like one person saying the same shit like 10 or 20 times. I thought like, no, you were corrected like 10 times by now, you know. And then the other person is like proudly, yeah, I cannot do this and I cannot do that and I do not understand this and I do not understand this. Is this really helping? Instead of saying, I cannot do this, how about asking, why don't I understand this? What is the missing puzzle piece here, you know? I hear a lot of, you know, I can't do, I won't do, I don't understand. I rarely hear, you're right, I might look into that. Like one chapter. And we had some sort of heated discussion, which was quite nice, with somebody saying like, Merlin, you know, when I go into a McDonald's and I just turn on Wireshark and fire on one person, you know, how bad could that be? And the person sort of was first gently, but then more escalatingly sort of pushing in regards to I want this specific answer. And I hate this when people ask you something and they demand a specific answer. If you ask a question, basic human knowledge, you know, ask the question because you ask the question. Don't ask the question just because you're looking for a specific answer. Then you should reformulate this. I will ask you now what your favorite color is. Your favorite color will be green. This is what you answer. Now I will question you, asking you, what is your favorite color? And then you say green. You know, I can live with that. Clear instructions, clear goal, you know, where we started, where we ended, what's the plan, what's the deal, what's the journey, you know. But if you're like, nah man, if a meteor hits the wall, you know, you're exaggerating, Merlin, like, you know, if the meteor is hitting the world, I was like, nah man, like seriously, the Pimmelgate, you know, the penis gate, where somebody called a politician and put a like penis, yeah, and that guy consequence for this, and you are telling me that yeah, people don't get checked down for petty shit, you know, let alone if you just extend, you know, if you give them more reasons. Well, every time regulations appear, it's more about the citizen has to pay, the citizen has to follow these rights. It's in 99.99999, whatever, you know, you get the idea. And there's nothing about like, yeah, we will have mercy with your soul, you know. It's always about more regulations, more framing you illegal every day, we get a little bit of a right stripped away, partially because we let this happen, partially because of privacy concerns and whatsoever, And on the other hand, if a company does this, no worries, it's a company, There's no one person, therefore it's like not a single entity, but many small entities forming a big entity. And therefore they can do illegal shit as much as they want, especially if they're rich. But I digress. The thing is just settling. Nobody ever would look into that. And I thought like, sure buddy, go ahead, do that, And then he does blah, 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 blah. And then at the very end, like after a couple of minutes, he says, yeah, in regards to HTTP, yeah. And this was quite interesting because HTTP doesn't get used anymore. And this is the part, there are two sides in me. Like the one side which can't rest, and say, I gotta correct this issue, this mistake, this misinformation, this is wrong. The other person says, who am I to correct this person in the 100% hardened path of wrongful choosing, And yeah, I chose the second because so you get a feel for when people are willing to change and think and discuss something, and you get a feel when they want to hear a certain thing. And it was definitely the latter thing. So I provided the information the person wanted to hear, because the funny thing is, the person wanted a yes or no answer, And Wireshark in itself is not an illegal tool. The use case makes it illegal. And especially if you're in McDonald's, and especially when you're package sniffing, especially when you're inspecting, especially when you try to, somewhat man in the middle, attack vector wise, spy on somebody to gather useful information. When a person says like, but blah blah blah, afterwards the HTTP part comes, and I'm the person who digresses, I'm the person leading out crucial information. But in regards to HTTP, yeah, sure, it's unsecure. But what about the other things, In that context, you are right, man. But if you consider all the factors, security is a spectrum somewhat. You can make it a little bit more secure, a little bit less secure. And that was like the whole stick. So regardless of that, it's snowing, and my shoes are getting wet, and I had too little sleep, and I was helping out another person with her device, and she sort of ordered a cloud service for 1 year, Google One, 100 gigabytes, and I told her, this is cloud storage. This is not on your device. This is online synced. Haha. I tried to get it off. I failed miserably multiple times, many instances. I downloaded this, I tried this, I installed this, I logged in there, I checked around there, I browsed for everything, I didn't find anything, I wasn't able to download it for like 5 times. And the person says like, yeah sure, why not, now I get it. This is like cloud online storage, I need this. So it's only €2 per month for 100 gigabytes, and it's quite interesting. The business model wise, people are willing. I think there's some sort of tendency. This isn't the first time I've seen this. People are willing to pay when you say somebody, not directly. Now I'm exaggerating it like always. If I say to somebody, I just steal €1.95 from you every month, you say, yeah, sure, why not? No problem, But if you say somebody like €3 or €4, now they're like, what? No. Jesus Christ, fuck off. But stealing a smaller sum is somewhat okay, because we had the issues with synchronization, we had the issues with downloading, we had the issues with extracting the files. We were forced to delete stuff only to buy further storage that is not needed now and will not need it be in the future. And yeah, sure, it's online, but yeah, the thing is, how should I put this? How should I put this? People just tend to prefer stuff online. I mean, sure, there are advantages to that, but Jesus, man, I tried to download a 5 gigabyte file for like 5 times, you know, and it failed with good internet. Like we're talking like 25 mega. What is it? 25. 25. Jesus Christ, man. I'm losing, you know. 25 megabytes per second. Yeah. But it was quite entertaining to see because, I mean, I think you don't. The main idea to convince somebody of cloud storage is like you access your files online, you know, constantly if you want, if the internet connection is right. You don't seem to understand if you don't have any internet around. Number one, you're first of all you're screwed if it's not locally downloaded, and number two is even if you have internet, like in my case, you cannot access your files. This would be a deal breaker, but other people say, yeah, sure, it's 80% broken, but 20% work, and 20% is better than 90%. So this is the buying argument. So, yeah. So I wish I had the guts, you know, to do some cloud storage thing, VPN thing, all of these kind of things, and then yeah, see it through user-based data. Even if stuff gets leaked, if you look on how companies fuck up all the time for all the wrist slaps, you know, it's worth it, man. It says, I'm not encouraging you to rip off people, but from a financial factor speaking, there is a big gain to be made if you rip off people instead of like, you know, shitting on honesty. Because if you sell user data or if stuff gets leaked, yeah sure, $10 or $20, fuck off. But I don't know, you know, if you had like Google, you know, support, then there would be negative customer support feedback and whatnot. And the way the payment method was like handled was also very shitty, very retro, very unmodern. A lot of issues that should not be, but don't bother anyone. So in that regard, it's quite funny. First we canceled the subscription, then we reordered it again. I suppose 20 euros are gone, but fuck it, you know. It's quite funny when you tell people, on one hand they tell you, no, I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay anything. And I tell them online, cloud storage, yeah sure, I want to pay. Sure, why not? The more the better. Told the person, you don't even need the storage. You have like files, your storage files are like split in like 5, 7, 8 directions. It makes no sense whatsoever to continue. I mean, if you say you need this because you need this, sure, I'll go ahead. And the person said, yeah, sure. And I mean, I should definitely go look into Snake Oil because, yeah, from a consumer perspective, this is just insane, man, how you can rip off people and they're willing to pay, you know. Luckily I paid the big company man because he overpromises and underdelivers. Yeah, this is what I kind of saw.